Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and good afternoon one more time. This is Coach Monique Beck, and I'm coming to you guys live and direct from South Bend, Indiana, where I reside, where my office is. And I am coming to you guys with the last installment of the Legendary Woman series, where we're talking about why isn't my money growing? And so trust me when I tell you, I was supposed to be on here at 2:30, okay? But life had its way again, and it's totally okay. Why? Because I am open to God rearranging my plans. Amen. Are you open to God rearranging your plans? I had to get well acquainted with that this week. And so I'm thankful and grateful for who God is. And we're going to get back into it again and talk about why our money is not growing. And so I touched on it. I don't have everything with me, but that's okay. I'm going to go off of memory on what we talked about thus far. And so some of the reasons why money would not grow the way it's supposed to grow, one is because where the money is. And I don't know if I touched on that, but hey, we're going to touch on it now, okay? Where your money is has a big indication, right, on whether or not your money is going to grow. Now, what most of us were taught as kids, we were taught to put a little money in the bank. Some of us don't like banks. So we were taught to put money under the mattress, put money in the safe. And it's always good to have cash on hand. But is that now going to be what you have for the rest of your life? See, the thing about money is very lazy. Money is very lazy. When you make $1, it stays $1 unless you do something with the money. Right? So there has to be a transfer or something that takes place where I'm doing this with the money so I can get this in return. And so one of the main reasons why I know, being a finance coach, on how you can grow your money is by investing your money. So people have been doing this for years. They've been doing it for years, you guys. They've been investing their money in mutual funds. And guess what? Most people in the African American community had no idea that it was being done. Because we were not taught that. We were not taught that growing up. We were not taught that in school. Our parents, for the most part, did not teach us about mutual funds because they didn't know about that. Right? And so that's one easy way that anybody can get started investing their money. Mutual funds. Now, the problem is, well, what mutual funds do I select? Where should I put my money? And that's when it's time for you to get a finance coach. See, the thing about money is, it's going to do whatever it wants to do, okay? It's going to do whatever it wants to do, but one thing it won't do without assistance, it won't grow. It will not grow, okay? But listen to this. If you get paid on Friday, right, and you can be driving down the street, you know you have bills to pay and all of that stuff going on, but yet your money is like, okay, what about if we go to McDonald's real quick? What about if we go to Texas Roadhouse real quick? What about if we go to a casino real quick? And that real quick thing can be a sting depending on what you have to do that week, right? And so we got to make sure that our money has an instruction where it's supposed to be going every single week, whatever the frequency is that you get paid. Another reason why our money doesn't grow is because we're not patient. And so think about this. When you put a seed in the ground, you put that seed in the ground and you water the seed, right? You water the ground. Do you expect a harvest the next day? Now, some people with crazy faith out there may say, well, hey, listen, God can do it. Yes, he can. God can do all things, right? But the way the process works, when you put a seed in the ground and you water it, it does not mean that a tree or a fruit or a vegetable is going to come up the same day, the next day. So we have to be so patient with ourselves. We got to be patient with our money because our money needs time to grow, right? And then in addition to that, it needs to be in the right environment. Okay. And so when we think about the environment that our money can be in, we don't want our money to just, be somewhere and it's just collecting dust. We don't want that. We want our money to go to the place where money grows. Okay. And that's not at the bank. So if you know this, banks on average give us about a 0.04% rate of return when it comes to growing our money, which is basically zero. Have you ever heard of the rule of 72? So the rule of 72 is the banker's rule, and it says that whatever interest rate you are earning on your money, you take that number, you divide it into 72, and that's how many years it takes for your money to double. And so if you're earning a 0% interest rate, 0 divided into 72 is 0. So your money is never going to double. Even if you were earning 1%, it will take 72 years for your money to double. Now that's going to take patience of steel. Because I don't know who has the time to wait a whole lifetime for their money to grow. No. So we have to start educating ourselves about the financial things that are out there, financial products. We have to educate ourselves and allow someone else to educate us, because if we don't learn to do better, how do we do better? Right? And so we got to make sure that we're being patient, but also being connected to the right sources that can educate us on what we don't know. Okay. Another reason why our money doesn't grow is because we don't have a budget. We don't have a budget in place. And oftentimes we live in above our means and not below our means. We're living above our means, being that we know what we make, but yet and still we spend our money any way that we want to, which causes us to be behind on bills, which causes us to be behind on our debt payments, which causes us to be behind in our savings. And so it's hard for you to get ahead when you don't have any money. Okay. When you don't have any money, it's hard for you to say, I'm going to save $1,000 in 2 months. How are you going to do it? Because you keep spending up all the money. Okay. And so we got to have a budget in place. Another reason why our money does not grow, and this was what I was going to touch on today, is because our credit is messed up. Listen, when you have bad credit, when your credit and your numbers are low, you will pay more for everything. That is just the truth. So when you go to try to buy a house, you're going to pay a high interest rate. And nowadays, so many people are getting approved for homes, but the interest rate is higher than what it should be because of our credit, right? Not just that. Car insurance. Did you know that your car insurance, your rate is predicated not only on your driving history and driving experience, but your credit score will make your rates higher. I had no idea that was the case until I came into the financial industry. And so when your credit score is high, then you pay less for everything. When you go out and get a loan for a car, you may pay 0% interest. You may pay, 1%, whatever it is. And that may be a promotional period, but you're going to pay less because you've been a good steward over your money. And they believe you when you say that you're going to pay it back. That's basically all credit is. Okay. Can we trust this person to pay us back? How long do we want to wait for them to pay us back? And then how much interest can we honestly charge them based on their history? See, when your credit is bad, it will cause you to do some desperate things, and it will cause you to get a car and pay 20% interest because you just had to have a vehicle and you didn't care. You just wanted to have this vehicle. So now your payments are $700 a month. Your interest rate is 11%. Your interest rate is 20%. And you're okay with that because you needed to have a car. You got to get to work. But now that means that all the money that you make is now accounted for, in that now you need this car for work. So now you're indebted to them and you got to work and pay the car. But now what about the money for you to save for retirement? See, so many people, and I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I promise you this. The majority of people that have any money saved for retirement is less than $25,000. Now, if you are 65 years old, how long does $25,000 last you? It doesn't last long. Can it last long enough for you not to go back to work? No, it won't. What would be your quality of living if you only had $25,000 left and you're 60? Let's say 67 now, because that's really the retirement age for people retiring from work. 67 years old and you got $25,000. That doesn't last very long, does it? And so we want to make sure that we're being as proactive as possible in getting out in front of our money growing. Do not be afraid to invest your money. Do not be afraid to purchase real estate, right? Or whatever it is that you want to do. And I'm not promoting, right, purchasing real estate. But what I'm saying is there are multiple ways for you to grow your money. I would stay away from the casino. I will say that. Okay? Because when you go to the casino, it's almost like a spirit falls on you. And you feel like you're going to win. And you keep going and going and going. And you know the majority of people come out of there broke, dusted, and disgusted. And so they got the oxygen in the air, it's flowing, it's going, and you feel like you can do everything. You can do anything. You know, you got your whole paycheck in there, and you're trying to flip it. See, when it comes to money growing, it takes time. I know that oftentimes we want to make something happen fast, but we got to leave that up to God. You see what I'm saying? So we can't play God and say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and flip everything that God gave me. Let me go ahead and put it, let me put it all on black. Now you're looking crazy because you didn't win and you still got to pay your mortgage, which causes us to be behind. Now we got to go out and get the cash advancements because we don't got the money to pay nothing. And then when we pay the cash advancement back, we got to pay that back with a fee. What if I don't have all the money to pay the cash advancement back? I got to take it back out. Ask me how I know, right? I've been there and I've done that. I understand. I didn't always have the mindset that I have now concerning money, but I understand now that it's so important for us to put our money in the right places. It's so important for us to not buy and get everything that we want. And I'm not saying that you don't ever get it eventually, but what I'm saying is, if you are not in a place financially where you can go out and buy whatever you want and have no ramifications for what you've done, then you cannot ball out until you fall out. We just can't do it. We got to understand that it's only a temporary time that we'll have to trade hours for dollars, if that's what we're doing, right? If I choose to work at a job, which I don't, but if I choose to work at a job, then I only have so many hours that I can work every week. I only have so many years that I can work at a job. Eventually, I won't be able to do it, right? And so how am I going to take advantage of the opportunities that I have to save my money? And then when I start saving money, I need gas. Okay, great. And then when I start saving money, where do I put the money so I can get the best return? Listen, when it comes to investing, there are no guarantees. And that's just like everything else in life. There are no guarantees. But I can guarantee you this. If you put your money in the bank, right? And let's just think about it. Inflation right now is about double. So let's think about 8% inflation. Normally inflation is about 3%, but right now it's about 8%. So just imagine living your life at 8% inflation. Gas is off the chain. Food is off the chain. It's in limited supply, right? And so the law of supply and demand says when the supply gets lower, we're going to increase the prices. And so not only are we dealing with shortages, food shortages, but we're dealing with inflation in every other area. Almost everything is inflated. You can't even go get your hair cut without paying inflated prices. And so listen, y'all, I'm telling you, we got to get out ahead of this thing. And so putting your money in the bank, putting your money in the mattress, yeah, that money may be there, right? If nobody breaks into your house and take it. And when you think about the bank, you only insured to have so much money covered under the FDIC, right? FDIC, when you walk into the bank, it says it right on the door, $250,000 FDIC insured. That means that they are insuring $250,000 of your money. So anything beyond that, it's not on them, because you already understood that that's all they're covering. But to have $250,000 sitting in a bank account that's giving you 0% interest. Now let's take it back to inflation, and then I got to go because I got an appointment at 3:00. Taking it back to inflation. If everything is inflated and as time continues to go on, inflation continues to rise. Prices continue to rise. My money is still the same money. It's not earning any interest. At the very least, The money that you are saving should be outpacing inflation. If you don't know how to do that, I want you to inbox me. I want you to set up an appointment with me, because I promise you I will get you straight. I will help you with a financial needs analysis, which is going to give you exactly what you need. And so you're going to know exactly what to do, where to put your money, how to get out of debt faster. And I will do that for you complimentary. How about that? And so for anybody who comments on this post, for anybody who shares this post, I am going to do a complimentary financial needs analysis. And what is that? That is going to give you your financial independence number, which is the dollar amount that you need to accumulate in order to retire and never go back to work. I'm going to let you know how much money you need for insurance. Okay, I'm going to help you with your car insurance and your homeowner's insurance so you can get the best rates possible. I'm going to do all of that for you. But I need you to like this post. I need you to share this post. Tag somebody in this post. And once you do that, I want you to go ahead and inbox me so we can get you on a schedule and get your money taken care of. We're not going out in 2022 talking about I'm broke. We're not doing that no more, because we got resources available to us to help us along our journey. Legendary woman, you are not alone. I want you to have all that God has promised you. And that includes money. All right. And so I am your coach and legacy coach, Coach Monique Beck, and I am signing off for this series of the Legacy Woman. The Legendary Woman Legacy series. I'm a little tongue tied. But I will see you guys again next week. Take care and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.